Glenwood Springs, Martha's Vineyard, Mar-a-Lago, Joe Biden's house. All of these exotic locations have served, at one point or another, as vacation destinations for the President of the United States. But one destination in particular has remained consistent across every president for the last 8 decades: the official presidential country retreat, Camp David. It's arguably one of the most secluded and highly secure locations in the world, but it's also like a pretty nice spot to relax. So how do they keep the president safe on vacation without ruining the vacation itself? Well, let's break it down. Camp David is here, somewhere in the Catoctin Mountain Park in northern Maryland. Its exact location is supposedly a state secret, and indeed, it's not actually marked on any park maps, but because I've been good lately and haven't exposed any state secrets in like the last 6 videos, I'll just go ahead and say that it's right here, and these are its exact coordinates. Now, you may be wondering why the president's luxurious retreat is in the middle of absolute nowhere, Maryland, and that has a lot to do with why it was created in the first place. Presidents used to travel all over the place for vacation, but during World War II, the White House realized that they couldn't let FDR wander into the woods in South Dakota while he had to do a war, so they needed to find a location no more than 90 miles from the White House where he could relax. It turned out there was a summer camp for federal employees just 60 miles north, so they went ahead and said, "That's the president's now," and began locking it down. FDR could drive there in under 2 hours in his famous armed Cadillac, which the Secret Service, by the way, continues to claim to this day was the armored Cadillac that the Treasury Department confiscated from Al Capone, even though that's like just not even remotely true for reasons that my writers cannot begin to figure out. Do they just want to make FDR seem more gangster? Can you make FDR seem more gangster when he's already the most gangster president in history? It makes no sense. Anyway, the proximity and seclusion of the location proved convenient even outside of wartime, so the Department of Defense decided to keep it as the president's home away from home. Nowadays, presidents can make it from the White House lawn to Camp David in just 30 minutes traveling by helicopter. This helicopter, to be specific, which is equipped with radar jamming equipment, ballistic armor, nuke-proof electronics, and even a decoy helicopter filled with people where it's way less of a problem if they die. As it makes this 60-mile trip north, several teams at Camp David have to prepare for its arrival. There's the crash crew to recover the helicopter in the event of a crash, the fire crew to put out any fires on board or on the ground, a group of Marines to greet the president on arrival, and at least one photographer whose entire duty is to, and there's no way I can phrase this that doesn't sound like a joke, be there in case the president blows up in the helicopter so that someone can take a picture of the president getting blown up. Each visit also requires coordination with the nearby town of Thurmont, which sits right at the base of the mountain and provides the staff of Camp David with all the normal things that normal people who aren't the president might need, like Cheez-Its. Before the president arrives, the local newspaper will give the town advance notice of any headaches they might have to deal with, generally meaning road closures, but for those of whom are planning on flying their airplanes directly over the president's not yet airplane-proof head, locals also have to watch out for temporary expansions of Camp David's no-fly zone, which remains at 3 miles year-round but expands to 10 when the president is in town. Placing this sort of unpredictably sized no-fly zone in the middle of nowhere does occasionally lead to local aviationists having the worst day of their lives when one of the F-15s that flies in circles around Camp David intercepts their plane and forces them to land in Hagerstown, Maryland, because then they have to spend the rest of their day in Hagerstown, Maryland. Now, once the president arrives, Camp David is designed to look and feel like a fairly normal retreat, as long as you don't look too closely. The president stays here in the Aspen Lodge, which features 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and an underground nuclear-resistant presidential command post which can accommodate 50 presidential staff and 150 defense staff in the event of an attack on the United States, and can be accessed via elevator directly from the president's bedroom. I mean, every cozy cabin's gotta have one of those. There's also the Laurel Lodge, where meetings are held and meals are eaten, and the Hickory Lodge, which has a bowling alley, movie theater, game room, and library. Add to that a handful of other cabins where guests can stay, a heated swimming pool, a hot tub, a skeet range, a basketball court, a gym, and a chapel, and you've got everything you need to stop the President of the United States from spiraling into a burnout-related depression and nuking Canada just to feel something again. So it's a lovely place to kick back and relax, as long as you're the president. But for those of whom have been assigned to secure and maintain Camp David, it's a bit of a different story. Before they even step foot on the premises, every single Marine must first obtain Yankee White security clearance from the Defense Counterintelligence and Security Agency, which is kind of like a normal background check, except way less normal. You, your family, your friends, and even some of your acquaintances will be investigated, and some will be thoroughly interviewed. In addition to all the normal stuff that comes up in background checks like history of drug use or criminal record, they'll also need to prove that you have a quote unquestionable loyalty to the United States before they can clear you. It's not entirely clear what that means, but it's pretty safe to say that I probably wouldn't qualify. Not only do the staff of Camp David need to keep the location secure, obviously, the perimeter has sentry booths stationed every 100 yards, but they also need to do that while maintaining a vacation destination fit for the president. Throughout the autumn, for example, the Marine station at Camp David will pick up every single leaf that falls to the ground so that the president's eyes don't have to be sullied by the image of a dead leaf, unless of course the president requests leaves, in which case the Marines will pick up all the leaves and then, in the middle of the night, meticulously distribute the leaves in front of the Aspen Lodge to simulate a perfectly natural autumn. Notoriously, one of the most difficult variables to control in Camp David is noise. The camp strives for absolute quiet at night, both for the president's peace of mind and because it's easier to identify intruders. So the night before the president arrives, a Marine will be stationed in the presidential bedroom to listen for noises throughout the night that could then be addressed and eliminated in the morning. Unfortunately for whoever's job it is to write down all the squirrels that need to die outside the president's bedroom, presidents have been visiting less and less in recent decades, and Camp David is being used more often for chilling tensions in East Asia than it is for chilling by the pool. So if you ever find yourself in Northern Maryland, be sure to pay the Lonely Marines a visit. I'm sure they could use something to do. Okay, so this is the part of the video where I'm supposed to be like, this video wouldn't have been possible without our sponsor, or whatever, referring to how they give me money to spend on food so that I can live. But this video wouldn't have been possible without our sponsor, NordVPN, for a totally different reason. Lately, I've been traveling in Europe, and back in 2018, the EU rolled out a whole new set of internet regulations to protect European citizens' data, but instead of complying with those regulations, a lot of American websites just take the easy route and block all of Europe instead. Now, this would have normally made researching a topic like this a whole lot harder, but thanks to NordVPN, I had access to every single source on the gloriously unprotected American internet, no matter where I went. With just one click, I was able to change my location to the US and browse with ease. It's as simple as that. And better yet, Nord ensured that all of my research was completely safe and protected. When you're traveling and using public Wi-Fi, you're taking a dangerous gamble. It's easy to connect to the wrong network and lose your data, your files, or even your identity. But with a VPN like Nord, your connection is encrypted and your data is safe. So if you use the internet while you travel, or even anywhere outside of your home, I can't recommend NordVPN enough. By signing up with my link, you'll get a huge discount, and you'll also get 4 extra months free with a 2-year subscription. And hey, if you end up not finding any use for it, it's no problem. Nord offers a 30-day money-back guarantee. Just click the button on screen or follow the link in the description and try Nord today.